Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey Hearties, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, joined by my co-host Brennan and our friend Catherine to talk about the next two episodes of When Calls the Heart season 1. So that is episode 5 and 6. First off, episode 5, The Dance. It was written by Ken Lazebnik and directed by Ann Wheeler. Abigail takes in a very pregnant widow, Carla Noonan, to keep an eye on her health while Coal Valley's doctor is away. Meanwhile, the new coal miners arrive to start working while bunking above the saloon. Welcome to the podcast, Catherine. We're excited to have you on.
Thank you. I'm excited to chat these with you.
Of course, yes. So, Brennan and Catherine, what are your first impressions on episode 5? So that is your initial thoughts, the emotional tone of the episode, so that can be just one word to describe it, and then your hot take of the week. So that's a bold or unpopular opinion.
Well, it's been a while. I'll be honest. It's been a while since I rewatched season 1. So actually, my first take was, gosh dang, these shots were visually beautiful. It's just been a long time. And also, like, where did the mountains go? That's my second question. So if anybody has that answer, send me a DM. I'd like to know. And then I feel like Billy Hamilton, he was incorrectly named. He should have been named Billy Bad Boy Brown. And I don't know why they didn't do that.
The Jim Croce song, Bad Leroy Brown.
Yep, Bad Leroy Brown. So I've got 2 songs for him, and it just kind of stuck to me. He could have been a perfect Billy Brown.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Especially because she's from Hamilton. So I mean, is that why they chose Hamilton? And then I would say, for one word of a feeling, it just really, for me, it was some definitely intense. And and that comes in a lot of forms of why it was. You've got the pregnancy, you've got a child who is not happy about his mom moving on, and then you've got bad boy. So I'm just gonna call him bad boy.
That's a good word for it, Catherine.
I'd say tense, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And then not really an emotional tone, but another word I have for this episode and episode 6, I'm sure I'll say it again. Skunk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree with all of that. I agree with what you said, Catherine. I loved how this episode was shot. There's a lot of cool, like there was fog throughout the whole episode, which was so cool. We got fog and frost, and even the very first scene, we see these new miners rolling in. They're coming in through the fog. And of course, the shot quickly goes to Andrew Walker as Billy. Just seeing all just bust into the saloon, and Elizabeth's expression is so funny. She's just going, hello, excuse me. And it's just a neat twist kind of midway through the season of, okay, all these strange men are here. They don't care that it's the middle of the school day and there's kids here. It's kind of inappropriate, and it just draws you in. You know, who are they? What's going to happen? What's going on? And a word for me is feisty. There's a lot of feist in this episode. You know, just Jack is trying to figure out who this Billy guy is. The new miners are being feisty. You know, Caleb is kind of butting heads with his mom and this new man. And there's a lot of feistiness going on.
Yeah. I think that's a great word, but I love that you said that it was kind of inappropriate. Don't you just love the one guy who's like, I am here for my beer after that long drive. And I don't care that there are children in school going on. Give me my cake beer.
Right. Yes, exactly. So bold.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to wait to share my bold or unpopular opinion about the episode after episode 6, because it involves Billy Hamilton. So it's a 2-episode arc. So going to Coal Valley Chronicles, our main storylines of this episode, we have the new miners arriving in town, which sets up the love triangle with Jack, Billy, and Elizabeth.
There's that word again.
First love triangle of When Calls the Heart. Along with the relationship between Mary and Caleb Dunbar. So, the mother and son, and then DeWitt Graves. So those are basically 2 storylines in one. And then Abigail taking in pregnant widow Carla is the 3rd storyline I have. What did you think about all those storylines overall in this episode? And what do you think this episode set in motion for the next episode and maybe the rest of the season?
I'll let you go first this time, Brennan.
I thought all of these stories in one episode, I thought they were all written really well. And what's nice about this first season is, since it's the OG characters, we get a little more time with more storylines in one episode. I thought all these stories were balanced really well. It just seemed like a good balance. It didn't seem like we were missing out on anything, or characters got more screen time than other characters. It felt very, very smooth, if that makes sense. And I agree. They all kind of led into one another. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. They all intertwined very nicely. For me, it was a storyline that, really hit home and I really, sorry, I really wish I would have divided these really up in my mind, but is it this one where they're talking about how life doesn't necessarily turn out the way that you want, but I'm doing what's best for our future? I wish he'd understand. So like Mary's acknowledging Caleb's hurt. And so is Elizabeth, because she's questioning him, because it ends in the dance for the first episode. So then yes. Right? It does.
Yes,
so, yeah.
It is in this episode.
Yeah. So I thought that was a very poignant thing, because it does throw you curveballs, and to see it through the kid's eye, and then also her understanding why he's going through what he's going through, but then her also wanting him to understand why she's doing what she's doing. And I think that's the first time that we've really seen that parent-child dynamic so far in the series. That was really well done. And then you gotta love a jealous Jack.
Yes.
I love jealous Jack.
And so of course all of that story sets up, and then it also sets up questioning yourself, and Elizabeth starts to have that happen in this, of whether or not because she's fighting, they're button heads about whether or not Billy is a bad person like Jack thinks he does, and so then I think at this point she's starting to question herself too, and then Abigail just kind of watching that in between. And then finally, I'm going to say the pregnancy, I'm sorry, there was no way she was 7 months long, even with twins. And I'm still to this day trying to figure out how long she really was.
Yeah.
So send a DM if you know that answer too.
Yes. So I mentioned on a previous episode, it might have been episode 1 or 2, that Ken also wrote. Ken Lezebnik worked with Martha Williamson on Touch by an Angel. And Martha Williamson knows how to write a love triangle, so I'm sure he got advice from Martha on how to write a love triangle.
Good point.
The nice thing is this love triangle was a very short one. I mean, but there's always, and you knew if it went past like 4 episodes, you'd be shocked. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I commend Ken, because I'm sure he got advice from her.
It was well done. It was a well-written love triangle.
Yes, and she knows how to write a love triangle.
Do we really, I guess in all honesty, do we really call it a triangle? Because one of them was not in love.
No.
That is a good point, actually, Catherine. That's a very good point. You're right.
That's true. Yes.
Technically.
This was a deception triangle.
That is very true. Yes. Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you know what? Let's market that.
Right? That's so true. We don't
Hash-
get many of those. We
Hashtag
do, but
deception triangle.
I think it has staying power. I really do, especially when we get into some, different scenes later in life. Okay. So yes,
it does. Yes.
I am going to write that down for a deception triangle, and I am like going to market that one the heck out of it.
I'm gonna use that hashtag in the review post for this.
Do it. It's so
some
good.
days-
That's so good.
Some days the brain does work, other days not so much.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So next segment, Hearts of the Valley. In your opinion, Catherine and Brennan, who changed the most in episode 5?
Oh, who changed
I
the
actually
most?
don't feel like anybody changed. I feel like that the changes didn't happen in this episode. So, well, I take that back. Caleb had a change of heart with the fact that he did come to the dance.
Yes.
So there is that.
Yeah.
So I would give it to Caleb.
Okay.
Momentarily.
Yeah.
I agree with that, Catherine. I really, really do. I would second that. I think Caleb, for sure, when he showed up at the dance with his mom.
I would say maybe Jack, because at this point, Jack is, at least for the moment, he's let go of the Kate Fullerton posting, and he's focusing more on the well-being of Elizabeth and protecting her.
Oh,
Good point.
That's good. I didn't know we were supposed to start from episode 4. No kidding. Dang.
Yes.
But that makes the most sense. Nicole, bravo.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Also, maybe Mary. I think in the beginning she was kind of not necessarily rude to DeWitt, but just kind of closed off a little bit, just because of her grief. But I think by the end of the episode, she does accept his invitation to the dance, and it starts their courtship, so to speak, their short courtship.
Absolutely. That's so true. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So, what were some moments of growth, vulnerability, or conflict with any of the characters in this episode? Now, for me, I would say growth, Jack, just all the scenes where he's trying to warn Elizabeth, be protective of her, that showed growth. Vulnerability, I would say for Elizabeth, vulnerable with Billy because she's letting her heart speak instead of her mind because of Billy's deception. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's letting her heart take over in a bad way, in a negative way.
When her heart calls was she wasn't listening to the real call of over there with Jack at that time. She's like, ooh.
Yes. And then conflict, I'm sure we'll talk about a couple of them. The scenes with Jack and Elizabeth where they were at odds about Billy. So what about for y'all?
Well, the Jack and Elizabeth was first and foremost for me. And I actually, I feel I need to go back and watch 1, 2, 3, and 4 really quick, because I feel like it's really hard to base it off of this for feeling like Elizabeth was in this one. Elizabeth is actually seems way more closed off, in my opinion, because she's closed off to what Jack is saying to her. I mean, even her and I don't think that there was a lot of discussion in this specific episode with Abigail about the situation, or maybe I'm totally wrong, because there was so much with the pregnancy and other things going on at the same time too. I think that happens more in 6. And so I feel like in her, she's to the point where she literally put her foot down. So I wouldn't, my personal sense wouldn't be necessarily that would be growth, except for feeling like she's, standing up for herself might be her own way of growth. So I could give it to her that way. Jack is probably actually really vulnerable with himself because he is like you said, he is now concentrating more on those relationships with, well, I'm going to say the town, with the town, and things like that. Whereas, I think that that's more of like he's asking himself, why does it matter so much what she does? And so in that way, he's looking inward. So I'd go with that.
Yeah.
I agree with both of you completely. Those are such good points.
I think for me, the only other thought I have about moments of growth, vulnerability, or conflict, Mary showed some growth, accepting DeWitt's invitation, and moments of conflict, I think that would be between, I guess, Mary and Caleb, and then Caleb and DeWitt, so to speak. Some great acting in those scenes, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we still get to now, but I love the highlighting of the kids' storylines. It's such a treat to see them shine too. So
yes. Yeah. So Mountie Watch, all Mountie related work scenes and investigations. So the first one, it's not really relevant to a case, but Jack, with his protective instincts, sends a telegram to the superintendent of Central Union Mine looking into Billy Hamilton's history. And this was after he had a conversation with Billy where he shared that he supposedly worked at Central Union Mine. There was a robbery at Florence's, and Jack assures her he'll look into it. So she comes into his office, or the jail, mentioning that someone stole her late husband's gold watch and cufflinks. So, that's when he tells her he'll look into it. And then at the end of the episode, this is the cliffhanger of episode 5. Jack receives the telegram back, and there's no record of Billy Hamilton, which means he's lying. Dun, 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 dun. Liar, liar, pants on fire.
So with the Mountie action, I'm counting jealousy as Mountie action. That was definitely across the board. Good Mountie action.
I completely agree. I love the scene where Jack is just Jack. He's not in his Mountie uniform. And they're at the saloon, and he goes up to Billy and says, I don't know how you guys basically party all night and how you can get up early in the morning. Then he kind of starts questioning Billy, and Billy is giving very vague answers. You can kind of see, the wheels in Jack's head starting to turn. That line is starting to blur of, okay, is he suspicious and questioning Billy for Mountie work reasons, or is he doing it because of, as a man, out of his feelings and concern for Elizabeth?
Yeah. Yes. And before we move on to the next segment, can we just talk about Dan's acting in that cliffhanger scene? He was totally acting with his eyes in that scene. That blank look that he gives, that, look after he reads the telegram. Oh, that was so good.
I agree. Dan is also an actor who his expressions say a lot. His eyes say a lot. And we're getting more of that as his feelings are growing for Elizabeth. And especially starting this episode, he's being so watchful of her. And there are many shots where he is looking on from a distance to Elizabeth. He's looking to Elizabeth and Billy. And you can just see his eyes say everything. Are they full of concern? Are they full of jealousy? Are they full of love? Yeah, that's so true.
I just came up with an idea that I feel could make bank at Christmas Con. Too bad I'm not the planner. But I'm sorry, but who would not pay for a Billy and Jack photo op? Because Daniel Listing is coming to his first event. And I think that should be a duo.
I don't know if Andrew is going to Christmas Con, But I do know Marcus Rosner is going to Christmas Con. There should be a Jack and Charles photo.
Yes. No, they are, I think all three of them are going to be there. And Andrew doesn't miss those.
No, that's true.
That's
fantastic. I have to look, but yeah, I'm on board with that. That actually, because One Calls the Heart to go back to the first few seasons with an opportunity would be so smart.
Can there be a Love Square photo op?
Yes, please. Can we get the Love Square? Oh, that's such a good idea. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. This needs to happen.
And just add Aaron in there. That's the Love Square.
Right.
Yes, all three of them will be there.
Oh,
yeah.
We need this to happen.
And maybe they have it in the works, but I think for sure do the Billy and Jack, because of the fact of that being the first one you wanted to hate, because he was getting in the way.
Yeah.
Yes, that's such a good idea. This needs to be an official photo op.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the planners of that one, so but for all who are out there in the world, it's a good. I think it could be a winner.
I think it could really be a winner. Someone please do that. Who's going to Christmas Con?
Yes.
Can Andrew grow a mustache for it?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Dan definitely acts with his eyes, and then there's a couple of other Hallmark actors along with him that do the same thing. Kevin McGarry, Eric Mabius. Those are just two.
Oh, I feel like if you can say things with your eyes and you can make somebody feel what you're feeling through the screen, that is a gift that I can't even figure out where the camera is half the time.
Yeah.
Girl, same.
All three of those actors are very great emotional actors.
Yeah.
Community chatter, that is talking a little bit about church or town meetings, school moments, and then highlighting an act of kindness or community spirit in the episode. So I think there wasn't a whole lot of ensemble scenes in this episode, I don't think, other than the school scenes here and there, and then the dance.
Well, we have the women get together.
Oh yes, that's right. Yep.
Yep. The women are getting together and helping go through things, and then all trying to figure out how pregnant she really is.
Yep. Right. That was a great scene.
Yeah. So we got them coming together for that, and then, like you said, the dance, and then the community action of catching the snake in the classroom goes high five to Jack.
Yes.
No, thank you. I'm with Elizabeth with get it out of here. I love his line where he's like, Caleb, you can pick that up however he says it afterwards.
Right.
It's like, where's he keeping it in the cell?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's like, Rip, don't eat it.
Nope.
So I don't know if this was me just noticing something that maybe wasn't true, but when Jack's walking out with the snake, he almost looks like he's kind of showing the kids, like,
yeah. and then you do see a few of them in the back that I was waiting for them to finally be like, yeah, he was, and then he was kind of saying something as he walked out, and then you look at the two kids like, okay, I'll just step away over here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was more Dan or Jack.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I think we need to give a round of applause to Elizabeth's students for the decorations for the dance. They did a great job.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I loved the shots we see of some of the people dancing. So James and Cassandra, which makes me think even more that it's not Cassandra that Gabe was referring to in episode 2. It was Rachel.
Right.
And then
good point.
Wendell and Abigail. I loved how Abigail went up to Wendell and asked him to dance. And he's like, I don't know how to dance.
That was really sweet.
Yeah, they danced. And then Billy and Elizabeth. But she couldn't dance with Jack because he was on duty.
Oh, but he was watching their every step.
Yes. Bounty action.
Yes, absolutely.
Emoji never sleeps.
He
Yes.
never sleeps.
I don't remember who the costume designer was for season one, but I actually really did love that dress that Elizabeth wore to the dance.
I
Oh,
actually really I loved her outfits in all these, and I really liked
Yeah.
that shade of pink she had on quite a
Yes.
bit too. Yeah, it was a good
Yeah,
shade.
it was beautiful. And
gorgeous.
my act of kindness, I would say, for this episode is DeWitt paying for Mary's groceries from the mercantile. What about
Oh,
y'all?
It's a
that's
good
a good one.
one.
Do y'all have any others besides that one, maybe, that stood out?
Abigail, caring
Taking
for Carla
Carla.
and
Yeah.
offering to have her move in
Yeah.
until the baby arrives.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, then you could extend that with the rest of the town taking care of her son because, and I did find that a little odd.
Yes.
And now I would take that odd because of whether or not, how was there not room in this inn, for the child, like that you got, but she's just like,
Yeah.
there's so many other ones that would take him in. And we know that Florence has him in at least as one of the first because that comes up
Yeah.
later too.
Yes, comes up in
yeah.
episode
So,
6.
so yeah, everybody taking care of each of the children,
Yeah.
always lending a hand when need to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
agreed.
Yeah.
So, Coal Valley highlights. So, what were your top 3 scenes of this episode, Brennan and Catherine?
One of my top scenes is the community dance because that's the first time that we see an event like this in Coal Valley, a dance, the beautiful decorations. We see that a lot, obviously, through season 12, but it was just the first time we saw everyone come together for a dance, and it was so beautiful. So that was a top scene for me. I mean, they're kind of hard to watch because you really feel for Caleb and Mary, but I think that scene where Elizabeth is talking with Caleb when he goes to her, you can tell he's in a position where he feels like his mom doesn't understand, and he trusts Elizabeth as his teacher.
Yeah.
So I really liked how he felt he could go to her and share these feelings he's having. I thought it was cute. This is maybe part of a scene or not really a full scene, but at the very beginning of the episode where Elizabeth is tacking on the miners dance sign and Jack rides up and she kind of peeks around the sides of the pillar.
Hi, Jack.
Says, hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
It's just so cute.
So we get, are you calling me a goat?
Oh,
Yes!
yes. Good one.
That, yeah, where he's like, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
he's like trying to like do all these comparisons, and so you get that fun banter where he is now just officially like, like as he says in the future episode, like, how do you get a woman to listen to you? Well, you don't call her a goat. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That banter was adorable.
Yeah.
This is the first time that you get them having a serious conversation about marriage in future, because if the Mounties wanted a wife, they would issue
I
one.
would have issued one.
Yep. I'm honestly going to say my other top one was, just because it was visually beautiful, was the kids walking to school with the frost and the fog behind them.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're getting those again, but I don't know. There was just something I was like, oh, that's just really, really pretty. And so, yeah.
That was
gorgeous.
Yes.
I mean, really not a lot happened in the scene besides frost and walking and fog, but I'm labeling it one of my top 3.
It was beautiful though. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, I think we all have the same, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Jack and Elizabeth talk about the dance and his Mounties can never marry speech, and Elizabeth saying, so theoretically, Mounties don't marry because they think women are delicate.
Yes.
Foot in mouth, Jack.
Yes. There was it was a whole screw up foot and mouth where he's just like, I give up.
Yes. Throughout the whole episode.
You might as well just walked away at that point.
Right.
Yes. Mary inviting DeWitt to dinner, I thought was a nice moment. That's when they're talking on the street. She is unsure because of Caleb, and he says, we don't want to make Mr. Yost or Ned think that we're lying because, when he offered to pay her groceries, it was brought up that it's because he's coming to dinner. So I thought that was a sweet moment. Caleb telling Elizabeth about his dad. That was after the whole snake incident, the dance, and then I have a couple of honorable mentions. So the scene when he calls her the goat, Jack to Elizabeth, of course. Flattery can get you anywhere. You think I'm in search of flattery? Well, he threw down the hay where the goats can get at it.
Yeah.
You're calling me a goat?
Yeah. Walk away, Jack. You totally.
Foot in mouth again.
Yes. I'm curious about this, and maybe it's just as my vibe take that I got from the actor, because I know that really wasn't his intentions, but did anybody else kind of feel like you were questioning who DeWitt was? I mean, if he was good or bad. I mean, I think it was just because he was very, when he was very, and he even said in one of this, he goes, patience isn't, or waiting isn't my thing or whatever, but I'll try, or I'll work on it. And it's not that you can't be an impatient person and still be a wonderful person. There was just some things, and I don't know if it was actor's choice, and maybe they were at that point still trying to figure out what to do with this character. But there were points that I was like, I can't believe she invited them into the house, and I wasn't sure where their storyline would go, even after the dance and stuff like that. So, I mean, kudos for making me question with intention.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually, from the first scene, like, I really liked DeWitt. I thought he seemed really kind.
Just Jaden.
Oh, no, totally.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, of course.
I question everybody's intentions nowadays.
That's a good point. Well, that's true, Catherine. I didn't think of that either, because for me, just as an audience watching, he's charming, he's generous, he's thoughtful, but you're right. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know boo about him. And all of a sudden he's going to her house for dinner with her kid. Yeah. And that is true. Taking a step back.
Yeah. You when you take a step back and you're just kind of like, and I can't remember if it did come up with Abigail or anything like that, but you're just sitting there going, what would have been proper? And of course, just rewatching it differently. But that's honestly why these conversations are so fun, because we all see things differently.
Yes.
And you're kind of like, oh, I didn't think about that. You tell me what you're seeing, I'll take a step back and be like, oh, I can see it that way.
Yes.
And so, okay. So, I mean, like I said, I couldn't even remember if they do end up married, right? Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So obviously he was a fine guy, but it was just kind of funny with that vibe where not even really remembering going, but I'll just go with Jaded Catherine.
Oh, Catherine, but that's so true though, because I don't even think he tells her where he's from. Do we know where he's from?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna say those hit the cutting room floor.
Mm-hmm. Probably. Yeah. And even he kind of invites himself to dinner, doesn't he?
He does.
And she agrees, which is very sweet, but
that was where it came up when you're saying, because he was saying we don't want to make us a liar because we did tell Mr. Yost. So then if he's throwing somebody else into the neighbor, and that's where she's like, oh yeah, you're right. And so there is a manipulation to that kind of a thing. And so it's, and that could just be somebody who was, well, no, I don't want to excuse you for being manipulative, even if you really like somebody. That's not a good excuse. But, it's so funny that, like I said, we all see it so differently, where you're like, no, he's a great guy. I go, are you sure?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You're right. He's kind of forward at first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that. And Mary's so sweet. She kind of agrees to everything, but it would have been interesting if it would have been maybe another woman like Florence. Mm-hmm. Maybe she would have been like, no, I don't know. You're not coming to my
very
house.
True. Yeah. It would have been a very interesting dynamic to see him have communications with somebody else too, to see how that reaction would have been. Mm-hmm. I like that idea. Yeah. I wish there was more time than 42 minutes.
I know.
Me too.
Yes. So a couple more honorable mentions for me. Jack watching the interaction with Billy and Elizabeth outside the Mountie office when Wendell is standing there too. Mm. And I love how Wendell's like, that one's quite the ladies' man. Not helping Wendell.
Yeah.
And Rip is there too, just being Rip. And real quick, did that give either of you Nathan vibes?
Yes.
A little bit, yes.
Because the way Dan was standing with his coffee, that's totally a Nathan.
It was her hanging out with Lucas with the binoculars, with Nathan looking. It was the exact same situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead,
Great one.
but just
I know.
seeing Dan in that posture, I immediately thought he's standing just like Nathan.
Nathan.
Or maybe it's Nathan stands just like Jack.
But it's definitely that, like, they're beyond suspicious and they're gonna keep an eye on her even if she doesn't want them to keep an eye on her.
For both of you, what do you think is the best quote of the episode?
I'm going with, "Are you calling me a goat?" Because of what
Yes.
goat, because goat is being the original nowadays. And so there you go. She was the goat.
Okay. Yeah.
I love that, Catherine. That's so good.
Full circle moment.
Yes.
Moment.
Look at how much has changed in 12 years or how many years it's been.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Brennan, what about for you?
Favorite quote. I think my favorite quote is coming from that conversation that Jack and Elizabeth are having about marriage. And specifically when she asks him, "Oh, so you never are going to get married?" And
Or
he
you
says,
never want to get married, or something along those lines. Yeah.
Yes. And he says, "Well, I didn't say that." And just
Right.
the words and the lines in that conversation, it's beautiful, but unfortunately it's also bittersweet because Jack is talking about how dangerous his life is and how wives would be going through so much being married to a Mountie, and you're kind of like, that proves to be true. But
it does. But also when you say those words to somebody and then you wonder why, they're like, "Well, you said, essentially you told me no, so I'm going to look elsewhere," or whatever, that makes that other person more attractive. And then you're mad at that person for being attracted to the other person while you're like, but you know, like, you know, 2 seconds later, my life's got to move on. So yeah, it's just very, it's an interesting all around kind of like diagonal when you think about it.
Yeah.
Completely.
Hope is the thing with feathers, and that's a quote by Emily Dickinson. And then for the best quote, "When each of us offers a small kindness to a neighbor, it can become a very large blessing to the whole community." And that is in Elizabeth's journal entry.
Yeah. So good.
Great one. Yeah, I just love the message in that you know, we all need to be kind to one another.
That is something that will never ever change. That always is how it was and always how it will be.
Be compassionate, be kind.
Never goes out of style. It's always needed.
Yes. Faith and frontier. So what were some themes of this episode for the both of you?
Lean not on your own understanding.
Good one.
Because somebody is watching. Oh, actually, yeah, that is perfect. Because somebody is watching. What do you know? I'm telling you, some days. Yeah, I don't know the full verse. I just know that portion of it right now off the top of my head. But you know, you don't want to hear that, but those people are looking out for you and stuff like that. And that is something, and a lot of times we don't understand because we only see it through a narrow vision. And then other people, including God, see a grand plan.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
So good. Yes.
So good.
I got to remember that in my own life because it's easy to say, but it's hard to actually live. Yeah.
So for me, jealousy and romantic tension was a theme. So Jack's jealousy towards Billy. It highlights, of course, his deepening feelings for Elizabeth. Their emotional tension, it begins to surface in this episode, showing, you know, their romantic connection and how outside influences can bring feelings to light. That outside influence being Billy Hamilton. So a Bible verse I have to go along with this theme, mainly of jealousy. 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 through 7. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. And this is used a lot in this show in seasons 1 through 5. This is Jack and Elizabeth's verse.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it because specifically in regards to this episode, Jack never really gets angry with her. He's patient with her and he just keeps a watchful eye on her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That so applies. And it's such a beautiful verse. And really so much is their story, their friendship, their love story. Even after Jack's passing, Elizabeth it still rings true. She still loves him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like the verse states, he's not coming to her with his concern for Billy to be self-seeking. He's doing it because he truly cares about her.
Mm-hmm. Completely. Yes.
So sweet.
So good.
Yes.
I know. We really start to see his feelings.
Yeah.
They're coming out. They're starting to come out. And it's so exciting.
We're like a little butterfly out of the cocoon.
Trust and deception is another theme. So it explores how people aren't always what they seem. Elizabeth trusts Billy Hamilton, a smooth-talking newcomer, while Jack sees right through his facade. The contrast reveals the importance of being cautious with trust and the consequences of misplaced faith. So a verse that could fit this, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 22, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who act faithfully are his delight. So Billy has some lion lips.
Oh, he sure does.
Explaining to do.
Yes.
But don't we all?
And I think Jack fits the second half of that verse. He's acting faithfully to protect Elizabeth. Protection and integrity. Again, Jack's protective instincts and sense of duty drive him to investigate Billy, revealing his commitment to truth and justice. The theme reinforces the moral backbone of his character and the value of standing up for what's right. Again, I'll skip ahead, fast forward to season 4. I guess this quote could fit this storyline too. Bad things happen if good people do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. In regards to Billy.
Well, it's just a light verse in general.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 verses that could go along with protection and integrity. So protection, Proverbs chapter 31, verses 8 and 9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and needy. So in this case, it would be Jack speaking up for Elizabeth, trying to help her understand that Billy is not what he seems.
Well, and I also would say I'd go a step more of Jack standing up for the whole community, which of course is something he would do no matter what. But with his job and stuff like that, especially
with
when
the robberies.
With the robberies. So yeah.
And then also when it comes to integrity, Proverbs chapter 11, verse 3, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. So Jack is a man of integrity. Billy is not. Those are both great verses. I think that fit very well with those themes. And then hope and renewal. We have Mary and Caleb representing a family trying to rebuild their lives after hardship, with Mary losing her husband, Caleb losing his father, which also symbolizes hope for a fresh start. DeWitt's arrival as a new miner brings the possibility of renewed economic opportunity for Coal Valley, reinforcing the theme of new beginnings. So, two Bible verses that fit this. Romans chapter 15, verse 13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. And then Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. This is in reference to renewal. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So I think these two verses represent, Mary and Caleb, because they're trying to start their lives over. And, the arrival of DeWitt really helps them start to have a fresh start, so to speak, because as we know, and we'll talk about it when we get to it, but they end up all becoming a family by DeWitt and Mary getting married, and just hope and renewal in terms of the town, the new miners coming, bringing prosperity.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then community and celebration. The town dance symbolizes unity, joy, and tradition in the midst of hardship. It provides a chance for connection and lightness. And this underscores how community events play a crucial role in healing and bonding. So, Psalm chapter 133, verse 1, how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. So just in terms of the town dance, everyone being together, brothers and sisters in Christ. And then Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. We've already talked about this verse a lot already the past couple of episodes. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. So in the sense of community, that would be Abigail taking in Carla, carrying her burdens.
Completely.
Great verses.
Yeah. So good.
What is the message that you both took away from this episode?
I'm going to go with second chances because I feel like there are some given with obviously Mary and Caleb and DeWitt and stuff like that. And then even with the friendship circle and stuff like that with the ladies, like I just feel like they're all supporting each other, which is also in custom with that. So I kind of feel, well, it seems like we always think of second chances basically on a relationship kind of a thing or whatever, or screwing up. I don't think that sometimes it necessarily comes to that. I think it's, that second act of whatever it is your second chance, kind of a thing,
That's so good.
Yeah.
I would say there was definitely a message of, I don't mean for this to sound negative at all, and maybe this isn't the right word, but I think there was a message of fear, if that makes sense. Not that this episode was hopeless, because this is one of my favorite episodes so far, but just I did get a sense of some fear. Caleb is afraid of his mother moving on. Yep. He's afraid of her forgetting his father. He, in a sense, is afraid of more change. And I think even for Elizabeth and Jack is afraid of Elizabeth getting involved with this man who he knows is not good.
He's also afraid of the feelings that he's developing.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I think Elizabeth right now, she's rejecting everything that Jack is saying. And maybe in a way she's
fearing losing her independence.
Yes. Yes. And I think just this fear for these ladies, there's these new miners in town, these strange men. That's kind of scary. I feel like I would be kind of scared if I were a single mom and these men came in. I'd be like, who the heck are these guys keeping away from me?
It wasn't just 2 or 3 of them. It was a whole army of them. So,
right. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. And Carla, she's really worried about well, we see her worry grow, but she's worried about what will happen to her baby, who's going to take care of her son.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a great description of it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this episode teaches that character matters more than charm. And we see that a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we love certain characters, it doesn't mean that they have some smoothness.
Charisma to them. Yeah.
Charisma, yes.
Charisma. We'll go with that, yeah.
And that acts of love, both romantic and neighborly, should be rooted in truth and selflessness. Also, that genuine connection and care are what build lasting communities and relationships.
Yes.
This is a great episode.
It's such a good episode. It really is.
So we don't have any listener comments about this episode, so we will move on to Hardy's trivia. So the answer to episode 4's trivia question, what did Jack and Elizabeth have on their picnic date on the boat? That was roast beef sandwiches. So for any of you who got the answer right, way to go. So our trivia question for this week, Catherine, take it away.
What is Elizabeth's favorite flower as stated in the scene with Abigail and the widows?
And this is the scene in the beginning. So the sewing circle kind of scene. Great scene. And Hardy's and McGarry's, if you were watching, leave your guesses in the comments of this video. And we will reveal it in episode 6.
Next week.
In an hour.
Maybe 2. It might be 2 hours.
No. Maybe 45 minutes. Well, this was so much fun, Catherine. Thank you for joining us. We can't wait to have you back on for episode 6, literally in just a few minutes.
Time to take wardrobe change. Oh no, thank you. This is I love chatting with you ladies. This is fun.
Yes,
thank you.
It's always fun.
So fun.
Yes. All right, Hardies. Well, I think that wraps up our review of When Calls the Heart, Season 1, Episode 5. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts about the episode in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of Brennan and I's reviews for When Calls the Heart, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube and follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when those new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Swing My Heart Podcast, and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye!